Today is June 7th, 2001. We are interviewing Mrs. Virginia Taylor at Latham headquarters. Interviewer is Michael Akey. Videographer is Wayne Clark. Mrs. Taylor, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Cambridge, New York, and graduated from high school there in '41.
What was Cambridge like up in 1941?
A wonderful small town that I couldn't wait to get out of.
And so, let's see, you graduated in 1941.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do after you graduated?
I took a postgraduate course at high school so that I could take some needed subjects to go into nurses training,
Okay.
which I did the following September, '42,
And where did you go for your nurses training?
in Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City.
So you didn't
I
go
got
to
out
the
of
big
town.
city. You really got out of town. And where were you in Pearl Harbor?
I was in Cambridge, living at home. I was a postgraduate student, and I think a couple of fellows in my class had joined the Army before Pearl Harbor, just before, and others went the same day. I think they signed up and went.
What was your feeling when you heard Pearl Harbor had been attacked?
Just astonishment. We couldn't believe it. That's all we talked about in study hall on Monday following. They played on the radio Franklin Roosevelt's, declaration of war, and it was, we were just dumbfounded.
So did it surprise people?
Yes, as I remember, it did. Yes.
So you then went down to New York for your nurses training?
In '42, and
42.
yes, yes. And I was only there a year and a half, and I decided I wasn't made to be a nurse. And so that I left there, and shortly thereafter went to California, where I had a brother living, and my sister had followed her husband out to California, and who was shipped overseas shortly afterwards. And so I went out there to live, but I guess I didn't like California very much either. And so I joined the Waves out there.
And you joined the Waves in
In '44.
1944. Now,
Yeah.
how did people view the Waves at that point?
Well, my mother didn't want me to go in.
Really? Why?
Well, she didn't think something a lady did.
Was that a pervasive attitude?
I suppose it was, but my brother and sister talked her into it, so she had to sign the consent form since I was under 21, and so that they prevailed on her, and she signed it, and here I am.
What was your motivation for joining the Waves?
Well, I had been in nurses training, didn't like that, didn't know what I wanted to do. And when I was out in California, I had to have a job, so I went to work for a supermarket. And I didn't much care for that. I didn't want to spend my life doing that. And so I thought, well, why don't I join the Waves and see what they can offer me? And that's
Why
what I
the
did.
Waves as opposed to the WACs?
I don't really know why. That I suppose it was something that I didn't know too much about, that I didn't want to be in the Army, maybe. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I've forgotten that.
Well, okay. And so you joined in 1944.
Right.
Where did you go for your basic?
They sent us to Hunter College in New York City. That was the boot camp for Waves, the only one they had during the war. Afterwards, they opened one down in Florida, I believe, for first for the Waves, and then I think it was all women's service, but I really don't remember.
What was it like at Hunter College?
It was great. We marched to classes and marched to mess, and we had about 15 minutes to eat, and marched out again, and another group would march in to eat. And they were filming the movie Here Come the Waves with Betty Hutton. And so that we were there marching on the parade ground. This was June 1st, so I started boot camp. And we had to wear winter uniforms and march in the heat, and it was a terribly hot June. And the people were just dropping over. They had ambulances all around to come in and carry them off. And we vowed that none of us would go to see Here Come the Waves because we had to do this.
Did you ever see it?
No. I think I have seen it since on television one night. I thought, well, after all these years. But we never saw Betty Hutton. Her stand-in was there. It was too hot for her, apparently.
What was the coursework like?
Oh, identification of planes and the structure of the Navy and how to salute, how to conduct ourselves and drilling. We were drilled every day besides our going around we lived in apartment houses there and we'd march from there down to the campus and we ate on the campus and had all our classes there. And in fact, yesterday reminded me of it. On the 6th of June, 1944, was D-Day, and we stood in formation around the flagpole and listened to Eisenhower give his announcement of D-Day.
What was going? Do you have any idea what may have been going through your mind?
Chills. Just amazing, because we were too busy. We didn't hear news, and all of a sudden, this great thing had happened.
So what was it like, a small town girl now down in New York City in a pretty regimented environment?
Well, I didn't mind that at all. It was, once in a while I get the feeling that we're all a bunch of sheep. We don't dare do anything but what they tell us to do. But other than that, I enjoyed it.
The esprit de corps morale was pretty good?
Oh, yes. For the most of us. There was one girl that decided that she didn't want to be in, and she got all kinds of illnesses and things like that. But for the most part, it was a good group, and the group of us that came from California, where I suppose we were all in the same car, and that's one thing. I went out to California by coach. I came back by Pullman. And but this group, we were very close, and when we finally had liberty at boot camp, they said, okay, come on, you're going to show us New York. You've been here before. So I saw more of New York City during that leave than I ever had before, because I was in nurses training and I didn't have time to do things like that. But I took them down to the station, the Statue of Liberty, and I don't know, we went all over the obvious places that you go.
What was the length of the enlistment? Was that the duration?
For the duration, or the pleasure of the president.
Did you have any idea of what kind of tasks you would be involved in after boot?
Well, we took tests to find out, what we would be qualified for, and I came up with the medical corps. I had asked for the storekeeper's job, a bookkeeper. I had taken a commercial course in high school, but they said, no, you're going into the medical corps. And I said, I'd really rather not. I was in nurses training and didn't like it. And so the next thing I know, I was being interviewed by a psychiatrist who said, and why don't you want to be in the medical corps? So I said, I'll go. So that's when I went to Bethesda, Maryland for 4 weeks of corps school. And that was a very nice duty outside of Washington, and excellent classes. And then we had liberty in Washington, D.C., and we went in. I think there was a parade for, I don't know whether it was the anniversary of the founding of the Waves or what, and I marched in a parade in Washington, D.C., and that was a nice duty.
What was the military personnel view of the Waves at that point? Were they accepted?
When I arrived in Bainbridge, not so much. When I first went to Bainbridge, I was in the medical corps, so I was assigned to the hospital, and so that was just regular duty, mostly. Well, there were corpsmen there, but mostly Waves, and I was in the ENT ward, and I met a fellow there, a patient, who was to have his tonsils out. And he was in the dental corps, and he said, you don't want to do this. Come on over and join the dental corps. So I decided to do that, and it was right there at Bainbridge. And so I applied and was accepted, and so I was only in corps school, or in the hospital there, maybe 4 weeks, maybe a little more. And I went over and started the dental training on Main Side, as they called it. And there were mostly fellows and corpsmen. And they'd say, oh, here we go, we're going to be going to war now. We've been relieved of our duty. But it was joking. We all got along well together.
So the women were fairly well accepted?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, in the waves, you had ranks?
Ratings.
Ratings.
Right, we were all, we were enlisted, and let's see, when you graduated from boot camp, you were a seaman third, I guess, seaman, I don't remember what we were. Probably the same today, but I don't really remember. And so that when I graduated from Corps School, I was a seaman first, I think. That was the hospital apprentice first. And then the next step up would be a rating. I was a striker, and the next step would have been a rating, hospital corpsman third. But I never tried for that. I was having too much fun.
Was it paid the same as with the fellows?
Yes. My rating was the equivalent of a corporal in the Army, and I got $66 a month as such.
Pretty good. Now, where was your first assignment?
Bainbridge, Maryland. It was a training center. It was a boot camp and also training schools.
And what was your job there?
Well, at first in the hospital, and then in the dental corps, I was a dental assistant and was trained to clean teeth and do anything a hygienist does today. Had I been interested in that, I could have taken the state test when I got home, and if I had passed, I could have become a licensed dental hygienist. But I decided I didn't want to do that anymore.
How long were you at Bainbridge?
For the duration of,
Yeah.
Yes. I arrived there in, August of, July, I guess, of 44, and I left there in March of 46.
Your mother finally get around to approving
Oh, yes.
what you did?
Yes, she was proud. Oh, you asked me what the soldiers or fellows felt about it. My brother was in India, and he wrote back and he said, I thought that's why I was in, so my family wouldn't have to be. So he wasn't too happy about it. But when he came home, my sister-in-law and I met in New York City for the weekend, and he came in later on, and we marched up the street together, the three of us, and he was very proud of me. In fact, he gave me his American Theater ribbon because I earned it, but I didn't have one.
Oh, really?
And I also earned the American Theater and the Victory Medal, but I never got either one of them. But I didn't get the Good Conduct Medal, but that's only because they didn't give it to the Navy personnel until after they'd served 3 years.
Okay.
I'm sure I would have gotten one otherwise.
We'll go with that story. So, overall, how would you characterize your experience?
Wonderful.
Did you feel you were making a contribution?
Yes, I don't know, I suppose to the war effort, but actually, we didn't feel that way. We didn't see the big picture as such. We were taking care of the recruits as they came in and went to service schools. And then at the end, Bainbridge became a separation center, and so that we did the same for the fellows leaving. We gave them dental exams and things like that. And that's one thing about the dental corps. We worked so closely one-on-one with the officers, the dentists, that the same as in private, practice that you do. I did work for a dentist afterwards, and it's a very congenial type of relationship.
So you pretty much, you like your experience?
Yes, very much. Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, you got out when?
I got out in March of 46, and I took the summer off, and I collected the 5220 Club, and for only a short time, my mother didn't approve of that. And then I went to business college in Troy,
Uh-huh.
and that's where I met my husband. And 54 years later,
There you are.
yes.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
No, I don't think so. It was a good experience for me.
You got to see a lot of the country that you wouldn't have seen if you stayed in Cambridge, New York.
That's right. Well, I wouldn't have stayed there anyway. I go back now, and I'm, I like the little town. I don't have any family there anymore, but
It's a nice place.
yes, yes. Have you ever been up to the Cambridge Hotel?
Not at the Cambridge Hotel. I have a friend who lives outside of Cambridge.
Okay.
So I've been up there.
Is he a native of there?
They've been there 20-some years.
No, I wouldn't know him then.
Russard's a school teacher.
No.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Taylor.
You're welcome.